You know, last week we were a little bit worried because only 500 seats had gone for this concert. And it's no fun giving a concert in an empty hall. So somebody had the bright idea to offer for Halloween some free tickets to come to the concert. And it was very successful. And we had a lot of people. And I actually ran out of candy and gave out free seats to this concert. And one young man who was about 11 said, "Culture is much better than candy," when I apologized for that. But some of the people I gave free tickets to were very young, and many of them said they'd never been to Symphony Hall, and a few of them said they'd never heard any classical music. So I thought, how are they going to deal with this concert? So I thought I would say a few words to prepare you for how we do this thing about classical music. So I wanted to take a moment from the Overture by Wagner and show you a miracle that happens in music. And I want to first of all show you the first theme of this piece, which is representing the burghers, the solid citizens of Nuremberg, who are master musicians. And in that society, in the 16th century, music was at the center of the society. Everybody turned towards music, and there was a beautiful tune which Wagner created, which you're going to hear right at the beginning of this piece. And it's going to overwhelm you because the sound in here is splendiferous. If you've never been here, never heard music, you will never forget the sound that you're about to hear at the beginning of this overture. Rather than play it with the whole orchestra, I'm just going to show you what it sounds like on the tuba, because our tuba player has been practicing this theme every day for as many years. So Jimmy, would you play the tune so that everybody gets to know? If you want to sing along, you can. It goes on, you get the idea. Now, if you... If you double the tempo and play it twice as fast, you get the apprentices. Later on, there'll be solid citizens and master musicians, but now they're impudent young things. So all of that is the tuba theme, double in tempo. All right, so that's great. Now comes another theme, which actually was written in the 16th century for this very guild. It was to celebrate, it was the banner theme that they used when they had marches and so on. They would use this theme to represent the ancient art of music in the hands of the great master musicians. And we're not going to play the whole thing. What we're going to do is it has a little fanfare to begin. Dum-ta-ka-da. You'll hear that. Whenever you hear that, then you know it's the theme from the 16th century. And we're going to hear the little fanfare, so you get used to that. And then we're going to hear the harp play what the harp plays at that moment. In the performance, you're not going to be able to hear a sound that the harp makes, unfortunately. And this is all she does in the entire concert. So I thought it would be nice for you to hear. Now, if you want to know when this tune is starting, you can listen for dum-ta-ka-da, and you can watch Olivia and see if she's playing. Then you know it's that theme. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. You'll have to listen very carefully to hear that. Now, there's another very, very special. There are quite a lot of other things that happen in this piece, but I just want to focus on this one moment we're going to come to. There is a very, very beautiful tune which represents the love which the hero, who is a troubadour, has for Eva. Because what happens is that this troubadour goes in for a competition, a singing competition, in which he tries to win the hand of Eva. The trouble is that he's a little imaginative and he doesn't follow the rules. And so the judges don't accept what he has to offer, and so they reject him. But this is the tune that he sings, and the first violins are going to play it together, and you're going to see why eventually they change their mind. See what I mean? That touches the heart of everybody. Yes, exactly. This lady went, oh. And you'll be happy to hear that Walter actually wins the girl in the end. Now, what's the miracle that I'm telling you about is that a passage about 7 minutes into the overture, all these tunes come together in a kind of miraculous panoply of sound, and you're going to be able to pick them all out. There is the music of the burghers, the solid citizens with their feet firmly placed on the ground in C major, which is the essential key of Western music. And then you have the young people, the apprentices, chattering away and making a nuisance of themselves. And then you have this beautiful tune which now has been incorporated into the world of C major. But the old burghers, who are very proud of their style and their mastery and the following the rules, they've incorporated fantasy and passion and freedom. And so all of those phrases can be heard simultaneously. Now, if you pay very close attention and the tuba doesn't play too loud, you are going to be able to hear every single one of those phrases together. But the question is, will you know when that moment comes? Because otherwise you'll be worried for 7 minutes that you might miss it. So we're going to play the phrase that will play just before it comes in. And I want you to hear in the music if there's a sense of expectation that something extraordinary is about to happen. And when I say something extraordinary, I don't know any other passage in 19th century music to compare to the perfection of this moment. I have a dream that every single person in this room, even the very young ones, will be listening with their ears open, their eyes open, and their hearts willing to listen to the magic of the idea of a society that works perfectly, where everybody is listened to, everybody has a voice, and art is at the center of our culture and our life. That's the life. The second piece on the program often is a concerto. They find some very well-known person, like Yo-Yo Ma or something, to come in and play, and then they don't have to worry about selling tickets because everybody comes to hear the famous player. Or somebody wins a competition. You have all these players and they compete and one of them gets the prize. What we're doing today is showing that every single member of this orchestra is a soloist. And so we found a concerto for orchestra, an 18-minute piece written by Hindemith. He was very excited because he just arrived from Europe as a refugee from Nazi Germany. He came to New York. He was very excited about America and even included some jazz in this piece, in the second movement. It's very exciting. But mainly he wanted to show off how great the New York Philharmonic is as an orchestra. So he wrote this piece as a commission for them, and he showed what they could do. And now you're going to hear what they can do. And what I would like you to do is to notice every section of the orchestra, the incredible flute player and the incredible oboe player and the clarinet and the bassoon and the horns and the brass and the percussion, all the percussion over there. Oh my God, so much percussion. And then, of course, the strings, everybody playing their heart out, and it's an amazing experience. No harp, unfortunately. But it's a great tour de force. If you're interested also in following the magic and the incredible mastery of Hindemith's composition, what he does with the themes and how he changes them and varies them and so on, that's an additional excitement. So you can watch the people and you can watch the music and you can enjoy both on a very, very high level. The final piece on the program is the First Symphony of Brahms. Now, I've been conducting youth orchestras for over 50 years, and I've never done this piece with a youth orchestra before. And the reason is because it is so difficult, it is so demanding intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, in terms of the expression that's required, that I have never felt that it was suitable or possible for an orchestra of such young people. And there are 3 12-year-olds, actually only 2, one of them just turned 13, but they're some very, very young musicians. And in a sense, you can say they have no business playing this music. This music is at the pinnacle of what the art can reach for, because Brahms stood at that moment between classical and romantic, between intellectual and emotional, that perhaps only he fully represented. And so to listen to this piece, you have to come with everything you have in terms of understanding and listening and caring and loving and sympathy for what music can offer. If you do that, and I don't think that the very young ones will be able to understand, but you know the beauty is in classical music that we come back to this music over and over and over again, and we discover new things, and we pour more love into it and more excitement into it. And I want you to know that almost everybody on this stage is playing this piece for the very first time. Nobody forgets playing Brahms 1 for the first time. They'll remember this concert 50 years from now, without any doubt. And the people in the audience, many of them are hearing it for the first time. And I'm happy to say you might even, if you know the piece, you might even be surprised by some things. We've discovered a few things that may surprise you, like the tempo of the first movement, the allegro. I heard a recording by somebody who knew Brahms. I didn't know this recording. And a friend pointed it out to me, and I said, okay, let's try it. So we tried it yesterday. And it was very exciting. So we're always finding new things, and we'll never get tired of this music. So here are a couple of rules. Silence is needed to listen to classical music because there's so much to listen for. So if you just close off all the sounds that you might think of making and just listen. The second thing is we have a tradition now, didn't used to be, that we don't applaud in the middle of the piece. We wait to the end. The reason, I believe, is because the intensity and the excitement builds during the piece, and then it explodes at the end when it's all over. Now, you think you'll have any doubt that you know when it's ending? I promise you will have no doubt. Okay? And if you do have any doubt, don't clap. Right. Now, it'll be very tempting because, for instance, in the Hindemith, there's a famous flute solo, one of the greatest solos ever written, maybe the greatest for flute. And it's very tempting, like with jazz, you know, you clap at the end of it. Don't clap, okay, right? Just let the music sit there in your heart. And then I have one last thing to say to you, which is enjoy this concert as if you were on the stage here. Because for every single one of these people, including me, all right, it's a thrilling experience to be in this hall. Just look around. There's nothing quite like it. Every time we walk in, every one of us, we're awed and deeply moved to be here. And I was going to actually, I was going to say something general about this. And I was trying to think, what can I say, you know, about living classical music at this time and all the troubles and so on. And then I got a letter yesterday from one of these young people. And I read it and I said, that's what I wanted to say. So I'm going to read you his letter. And this is Rohan, who's sitting right here. And he's been sitting here for a long time. And I'll tell you what he said. As I stepped onto the hallowed stage of Symphony Hall for our dress rehearsal on Friday evening, I gazed out into the vast space and opened my ears, as astonished by its majesty as ever before. Just moments after we commence with the opening C major chord in the MEISTERSINGER Overture, I found myself fighting back tears as the thrill of that invigorating sound transported me back to when I played the very same second violin part during my first season in the BPYO 5 years ago as a 16-year-old high school student. It was then that this overture became one of my all-time favorite works, and embarking on a new journey with the piece has renewed that admiration. Receiving that same magic spark all over again is an indescribable feeling. Now, age 21, and nearing the conclusion of my undergraduate conservatory studies, I am devoid of any doubt that the life-changing moments like these music has to offer will guide me through the treacherous transition from college into the professional world. It is moments like these that drive people to pursue music and to share it. It is my fervent hope that despite the horrors and conflicts that continue to ravage our world, each and every human being listening to this concert will reap from it something indelible, that the experience of the BPYO will bring to them the wonder and joy it has instilled in me. Thank you. So now I'm going to leave the stage. The orchestra is going to tune carefully, and then you're going to hear that C major chord at the beginning of the MEISTERSINGER Overture. Thank you. Thank you. The conoscenti will be surprised to see a tuba on stage for Brahms's first symphony. Brahms did not write a part for tuba. However, a little-known fact is that in the first performance of Brahms's first symphony in Boston, the contrabassoon part was played by the tuba. And the reason was they didn't have a contrabassoon in Boston in 1879 when the performance was first made. I've chosen to add the tuba in a few places where the lower octave, which is played by the contrabassoon, can be supported along with the other brass instrument. There's quite a lot of controversy, even in the orchestra, about that. But since you never will have heard it that way, and undoubtedly will never hear it again that way, I thought we should allow ourselves that privilege. It also enables our tuba player to play in Brahms' First Symphony. I wasn't planning to say anything about the Brahms. Brahms speaks for itself, and it's so complicated that actually you can't explain it. But what I did want to share with you is another of these letters. You may have gathered this is a very verbal organization. Every week they write on their quotes white sheets, comments and observations, and sometimes complaints, and sometimes just nice things that they write. And I got one just a couple of days ago, and I was so moved by it that I thought I would read it to you, and I think it will help to understand this piece, and particularly the extraordinary melody which is so well known in the last movement. The last movement melody, which everybody said to Brahms, it sounds like the Ode to Joy, and he answered, any fool can see that. I came into this year with little knowledge of Brahms, the Hindemith, or the Wagner. Now these pieces are constantly on my mind, and I can't imagine how I had previously existed without them. While I love all of the music we are playing, there is something particularly special about the melody in the last movement of Brahms' First Symphony that has prompted me to encourage more of my friends to come to this concert. The meaning behind this melody really hadn't come to me until very recently. I had always loved the main theme of this movement, but just considered it another incarnation of the Ode to Joy theme in the Beethoven Ninth. However, I believe that it represents its own extremely powerful idea. I believe that the primary theme in the last movement of the Brahms represents the strength and resilience of the human spirit, the part of you that no matter the circumstances gets up in the morning and faces the day with pride and passion. We all face challenges and tests of our resolve, some more than others, but how we do so defines our character. I invited people to this concert not to flaunt my abilities as a violinist, but because I truly believe that everyone in the world would benefit greatly by hearing this music, particularly the Brahms. I feel that when I become especially attached to a piece of music, I live my life differently. The Brahms has helped me this year to cope with the challenges junior year has entailed for someone who is trying to improve enough to be a musician professionally. I feel that I have and will continue to grow as a person and show my dedication to music and those that I love, in part because of the inspiration of music such as Brahms' First Symphony. I hope that others unfamiliar with this music, who face challenges greater than mine, will hear the concert and feel inspired by its message. I am very excited to play in this concert, to give others this opportunity and to once again feel the extraordinary experience and effect of playing incredible music in Symphony Hall with this outstanding orchestra. Thank you, Jake Winnick. I was thinking in the first half that Boston, like the people of Nuremberg, have reason to be proud because of the way that music finds its center in this community. Thank you.